Good day, everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Inside SWTOR, a group of gamers gabbing about what's new and hot inside Star Wars: The Old Republic. I am Sandy Cindermisha Smith, Community Manager with fragworld.org and Guild Leader of Pillars of Ajla, a casual, ambitious, with a little more emphasis on ambitious, PvE and PvP guild on the Juyo server. I'll ask my fellow panelists to introduce themselves in just a moment, but first I'd like to introduce you to what you can expect from Inside SWTOR. As you may have already guessed, we are a panel show. We'll open up each episode with a rundown of news and hot issues surrounding the game that week. Then we'll have one or two questions of the day we'll discuss in our personal zany way. Sometimes we'll answer viewer questions, sometimes we'll have guest panelists, and sometimes we'll conduct interviews. You want to be sure to join us every week. Now, I'd like to have our other panelists introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm also Fastcard Fraser. I go by Fastcard or FC. I'm a officer in the Pillars Guild. I'm a Guild Bank officer, and nice to be here. Thank you.
I am Joshua Joshrooms Smith, also in the Pillars Guild, and you can also find me writing about Star Wars lore and various SWTOR news over at SWTOR-life.com.
I am Brad Mac Arthurian Barons, and I'm a member.
Yay, member! So our question of the week this week is, of course, about 1.2, because that is the big news this week, that and PAX East. And so, starting with Fastcard, we will talk about what we like most about patch 1.2 and what has disappointed us most about patch 1.2. And knowing us, we will get off on about 30 other topics.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So, what I like about it, I like that they added the Guild Bank. Haven't had a chance to really play with it too much yet. I like the legacy that was implemented. I have 8 characters. I put them all together, and I only have one level 50 character. But I'm glad that my other alts, whenever they use their power, their class ability, that they can always access my level 51 as well. Some things I don't like. I have a couple of glitches so far. Like whenever I travel to a planet, when I exit my ship, the planet is not there. It's just a star field in the back. And what else? Yeah, that's mainly the biggest problem I'm having so far. It's just a minor glitch. Hopefully they'll fix it sometime soon.
Just what, like, so far? I mean, obviously there's a bunch of new additions that just really help polish out the game, which are really nice. The additions of some new dailies are great, even though some of them are not that exciting, but running the same things on Ilum and Belsavis every day got really tiring and old. It's nice to have a little more flavor in there. The wrapping up of the canon Under Siege Flashpoint I'm really excited about, mostly just because I'm a big fan of the flashpoints to incorporate a little more story into it, rather than just go here and kill some things. With a little more backstory, it gives me a little more motivation to do it. I wish there had been more flashpoints like that throughout the game, whereas before it seemed like there was really only a few, like your very first one, and then there was a couple in the middle, and then at the very end, where they were kind of sparsed out. So the addition of that is great. It's nice to get two to tie into each other like that. Haven't got a chance to check out the new operation yet, but the ability to kill Trandoshans is always fun. Makes Kaizen a little upset. He gets a little bummed, but anytime you get to fight lizard men, it's a plus. It's a plus for me.
Well, I'd have to start off by saying I'm pretty narcissistic and vain, and so I'd have to say the biggest thing that I like about it is the unified colors. Just being able to make all my armor match, and my OCD can be right in line with it, because I have a tendency to go through my bank at least two, 3 times a day and put everything in stacks and neat little corners and everything. But I like the unified colors. I like some of the legacy buffs that they put in there. I'm definitely excited about being able to use all the different class buffs once you reach the end of chapter 2. That I'm definitely excited for. I have almost 2 characters there at the point right now, so it'll be even easier for alts as I go on. I'd have to say that the thing that disappointed me was the the legacy tree in general. It just, drag it over there, and I get a couple of options for spouse, rival, child, adopted child. It felt a little underwhelming. I guess I kind of had my hopes up thinking that there'd be buffs or some sort of, I don't know, interesting lore that would go along with placing them in the family tree. But it looks nice, and it's fun to hit the button and remind myself what it is once in a while. But I don't know, it just seemed like there was going to be more to the actual tree rather than just a page that I could look at once in a while.
I gotta agree with you 100% there. Obviously, the legacy family tree thing is pointless. I mean, if you really want to look at it from a game point standpoint, it offers you nothing. It's just there for flavor and for fun. It was still something that they talked about a lot, though, and I was expecting just, it's not that there aren't a lot of options, but I'm really disappointed with the fact that, like, you can really only have, unless you want to go like the child route, you can only have like 2 people attached to each character. Like, if I want my Jedi Sage to be allies with my Jedi Knight and my smuggler, then I can't set any rivals or anything for them, or spouses. That was really disappointing. It's a minor thing. Like I said, I mean, the legacy tree is, game-wise, it offers you nothing other than something pretty to look at. But for something they talked about so much, it seems like it's really underwhelming.
It almost seemed like it was a focal point for the whole thing. Was, look at all this new stuff that we're going to unravel, and the legacy tree this and the legacy tree that. And like I said, some of the options are neat. I haven't bothered to unlock any of them yet because I'm kind of stingy. But the rocket boots looks cool, because who wouldn't want to pretend to be Peter Pan in bounty hunter armor with flamethrowers? I'd like to build one, but knowing me, I'd just end up on fire for the 4th time in my life. So. I mean, I think they did a good job with some of the unlockables that you can buy, but the tree itself just was a letdown for me.
Yeah, 5 million credits for that rocket boost is a little steep. It's a little steep.
Yeah,
just a little bit. One of the things that disappointed me about the legacy tree is that you can't add your companion spouse as a spouse, but they said they might add that later on. But for now, yeah. That's kind of disappointing. And as far as like the other unlockables, like, it was surprising to me that you had to pay credits for a lot of the unlockables and how much they cost. But I just learned recently that in order for them to bring down the cost of repairs, they increased the cost of legacy unlocks. So that seemed like a fair balance to me.
Yeah, the bringing down the cost of the repairs was definitely something that needed to happen. If I remember correctly, at the Guild Summit, they said that they want to, at a future date, go ahead and add the companions that you can have as spouses on the legacy tree. I'm not sure if that'll happen, or if it does, when it will happen. Of course, one of the things I really liked about the patch was, of course, the guild bank, and also target of target. If they hadn't nerfed SOA, that would have made the SOA fight so much more manageable. And so I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to help a lot. And as far as what I'm disappointed in, legacy-wise, I have 2 accounts. So if I want to get the benefit of my Empire tunes on my Republic tunes, I'm going to have to re-roll some of them, because I have a Republic account and an Empire account. So I would really like a way to coordinate those together, because I don't want them to have the same last name. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's just me. I was surprised that nobody mentioned as something in which they were disappointed the lack of ranked war zones in 1.2.
I'm disappointed by the fact that it's not included. However, I have a hard time being too critical about it, because I am always a fan of not pushing out something early just for the fact to have it in game. If you need to hold it back and you need to polish it up and make it come out great, that's fine. It kind of seems like they're in a situation where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you push it out and it sucks, then people are going to complain about it. If you hold it back, people are going to complain about it. So you might as well hold it back and make sure you have a really good product to put out there.
I agree. And I wish that more people would think that way, or get it. I understand that It's one of the things that they advertise and they wanted it so badly. But if it's not ready yet, wouldn't people rather have it be good and ready rather than crappy and unpolished?
True, but the PvP crowd in this game are obviously, there's a lot of disappointment coming from them with Ilum. The ranked war zones were a big way to help fix that. I mean, I completely understand why people are disappointed in it. Don't get me wrong. People have been looking for that in the game since day one. But if you're going to hold it back to make it better, then make it better. Just hurry up and get it done. Like, don't wait until game update 1.3 because you're going to take a lot of people off.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they'll do it way before then, like maybe a month, maybe, or maybe even a few weeks. Who knows?
As long as it's right. I mean, I personally, I haven't PvP'd in years since, I don't know, probably Burning Crusade, not the name drop or anything like that. I get completely turned off to it. I mean, I had a couple of guys that I played with regularly that were a lot of fun, and we had fun playing it, but after a while, it just got annoying. And I just haven't ever picked it up again. I want to pick it up in here. I just haven't had, really the time. And I'm looking forward to it, but I don't want them to push out any kind of content that's not going to be done. I mean, you can give me something that's 90% done, and I can live with bugs. I can live with small bugs. Now, if I lose a character or my account, then yeah, I'm chopping down trees in my backyard. Toothbrush. But, I mean, honestly, you're not going to get the gaming community to use common sense and level-headedness when it comes to anything like that, especially not PvPers, not to, put them in their own category.
Well, they kind of are in their own category. And, I mean, there's a contingent of every group, gaming-wise, that, some of them are more reasonable than others. Of course, the ones that you tend to see on the official forums, I think percentages are a little bit skewed there.
Say the less reasonable ones are more vocal. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Which is one of the reasons why we have some, we're lucky to have some other ways to give feedback. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Can I say one huge disappointment for me? I mean, it's
Absolutely,
fixed, but
yeah.
the day after 1.2, you couldn't play all day long.
Well, it's Friday the 13th.
Well,
it's my favorite day of the year.
Yeah, it's true. It should have been a good day. It's unlucky to go outside. I should have been able to sit here, play SWTOR all day. Instead, I had to wait all day. Yep.
Did you bide your time with Hello Kitty?
I instead drank beers and played Mass Effect 3. So, it wasn't a wasted day. I'm not going to say. I had some fun. But,
Right.
we just got our second gaming rig before, me and my wife getting ready to get on, play together, and get up. Nope, server's going to be down. No idea when they're going to get back up. But, thanks for giving me another free day for it.
And a free day and 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little excited at that. $15, that's, like 10% of a tire for my car.
It's like one movie. Oh, wait.
Give me a couple of more.
Do you think that any of the players out there who may have been playing since day one but do not have a character up to level 50 for whatever reason, either they're big altaholics or they've just got real life commitments, are feeling a little left out? Like, why didn't you just give it to everybody who's been playing since day one, or whatever time frame on top of the level 50s? Because I know there's got people out there like that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a double-edged sword all the way. You have people with at least a minimum of 150. We give you a month of free game time. But if you have a level 49, you miss out. Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you give it to everybody? Well, now I'm not a special snowflake because, I have a 50 and everybody got it. What's the point? I mean, I could probably go on a tirade about everything, like my VIP speeder being taken out of the game. And my non-scalable STAP from the collector's edition. I digress.
Want my Tauntaun. Don't have it yet. Looks cool.
I
wish I had it. Well, yeah, I've got the black and white one, but not the special RAM one. At least I haven't got it in the mail. Have some people? I haven't seen anybody have
the
one
RAM,
yet.
I thought the RAM was the one where you have to do the special quest on Hoth that they're not telling anybody where it starts.
Maybe.
Are you talking about the PAX one or the new in-game one?
The new in-game one.
Yeah, that I think the patch notes said that you have to do a quest line on Hoth, but they're not telling anybody where it starts.
Oh, well, maybe I was just wrong then. I had thought I had seen that sometime before the 24th you will get sent to it in your in-game mail. Maybe I was wrong. Either way, tell me where the quest starts then, because I want my
Yeah.
second Tauntaun.
Yeah, I'll have to reread the patch notes because I was intrigued about that. It's like, oh, I get to look for something now along with the other 800 things that I'm doing
Yeah,
On
there was-
Hoth, of all places.
on Hoth. So I'm doing it on my smuggler because that's where he is. I'm not going back there with my Jedi. It snows
Wait,
here.
way
6
too many
months.
patch notes this time for me to read through the whole thing, so that might be where I missed it.
TLDR.
Yeah, that's the definition of TLDR.
There's new stuff. That's what it comes down to. New stuff. Gotcha. Gotcha.
All my
New
talent
stuff.
points got reset. Why is that? Scroll, 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 scroll. This is crap.
I was actually okay with that. I switched from a TK Sage to a Balance Sage. So like, oh, free respec. Might as well.
Not yet. You might as well.
Nice. I'd like to have just been given a free respect to use whenever I wanted.
Well, I think,
Oh, well.
what was it they were saying? That some of they had to do it because of some of the skill point changes, that if they didn't do it, your character would be broken.
Right.
So they just have to reset everybody. Which I know for some people it's going to be annoying, especially if nothing really changed for you. You've just got to put everything in again and
Right.
maybe reset where you have stuff on your quick bars. But, oh well,
Yeah.
free respec.
And for other people, it's annoying because you can't remember what your spec was before 1.2. So, yeah.
Well, then you got some memory issues if you can't remember what spec you're playing in the game.
Well, I mean,
Was
some
I
people
here?
haven't.
I
Like some people got level 50 really early and never respect. Like since January. So yeah, I can see some issues with that.
Like, yeah, I suppose. If you want to be all rational about it.
What's that? What's that?
Do you put color coded buttons on your keybinds for when you raid? Okay, this does this and this does this. And this.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't. I have a mouse.
No, I'm one of those crazy people where when I get my spec, I take a screenshot of it, and that way, and then I rename it. And that way, if I want to respec and they go back, I can remember what I had.
Yeah, I use DB.hater. They have it spec field, but they don't have it updated yet. So
I wish I was smart enough to do stuff like that. I just wing it. Just wing it. It's good enough.
Says the records officer.
Yeah.
I can't find my screenshot button, so I just mash all of them. I have no idea why I'm jumping off cliffs, but at least I got a nice shot of it.
Face
Hey, that's how I
roll.
PvP. I just take my keyboard and roll my face across your keys.
Hey, Red Pally.
Exactly. I actually like PvP in this game. I had given up PvP in that other game too because it got broken, frankly, in my opinion anyway. But I really liked it so far in this game. I've enjoyed it. I frankly, to be honest, wasn't so much looking forward to ranked war zones. I know the more competitive PvP people were. That's kind of a tongue tie thing.
It is
It's
a little bit. Say it 3 times fast. See what happens.
Exactly. I'd probably come out with a naughty word. That seems to
I'll
usually
write
be
that
the
down.
case. Right?
That's going in the dictionary.
I
But
really
yeah,
like PvP in this game. I just admittedly suck at it. So I only get so into it.
I'm not that great, but it's a lot of fun on the trooper because you can yoink people. Oh, okay, on the tanky trooper, and by yoink I mean harpoon, but I call it yoink, and and storm.
It's a great
people.
term.
Yes, it is.
I like it. I like
I
it.
trademark that.
I can just.
Right.
That's how all my dates start. Yoink!
You got him just as he was drinking. Good job.
Just I'm drinking.
No,
Good,
man,
great.
I'm
Good job.
looking at the
Timing.
camera. Feels horrible.
But yeah, especially with Ilum the way it is, I can see where people would have been really disappointed that that didn't get put in. But I agree that it's good to have it actually working before it gets implemented into the game. And of course, Ilum is a whole nother ball of wax right there, and how they're going to go about fixing that. Speaking of that, what do y'all think about the tweet feedback thing that James Olin has been doing on Wednesdays?
I think it's been great. One of the things that I really like about SWTOR, just BioWare in general, I'm going to go ahead and admit right now, I'm a bit of a BioWare fanboy just because I love pretty much every game they've ever put out. Not saying that all of them are perfect, but I do like a lot of them. One of the things that I really think that they do better than most any other company that I see is have interaction with their fans and the people who buy their games. Just the fact that he's like, hey, I know that a lot of people are probably going to abuse this and tell me a bunch of stuff that I don't want to hear, but hey, let me know what you guys want. Even if it's an idea that we can't implement, just the fact that he's willing to take ideas from the people who play the game and not just rely like, oh, we're just going to go test it and see what the devs make, excuse me, and then come back and give you something and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Great. More of that, James Olin. please.
Yeah, I like that poll that they had a couple of weeks ago about what kind of they had like 3D space and like capital ship battle and like a half battle for like the AT-AT, and I think there's a fourth one. Remember what that was?
Waffles.
Yeah, I think it was vehicular combat, maybe speeders.
Vehicle combat. Thank you.
Yeah,
so-
ATSTs and whatnot.
And as far as I know, the 3D space combat one would be like by like a one land side, but I don't know. Their wall of crazy must be so huge by now.
A room of crazy, just
Yeah, room
walls
of
covered in
crazy.
crazy.
They keep adding like we keep suggesting more stuff, and they're good ideas. So I can't imagine how long it'll take them to implement half of them or even a quarter of them.
As long as it's right, I'll wait forever.
That's the great thing about having the Star Wars IP. There's so much out there you can pull from. This game, if it continues to be successful, we keep having subscribers, they keep people around. They've got just so much they can pull of for content in the future, which makes me really excited about the future of this game. I think some players, not all, some players they expect a perfect game right now. It's been out for what, 5 months? This game's been out for 5 months. It's not going to be perfect right now. Some people, you just need to accept that. It's going to get better. All games are going to get better in the future of this type. There's a lot of exciting stuff that can come our way. Even if you're not necessarily happy with, let's say, how PvP is or how some content is now, it'd be a shame to throw away. Just for everything that we can have in the future. It'd be a shame to walk away from this game.
Exactly, especially considering the state, some of the MMOs I played were when they were first released. Yeah, good times. But yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about all the different future possible content they can release, and that's one of the things that at least I have noticed in some of the games that I had played, is that the content really started to get stale. It was just kind of repeating and that kind of thing. So that ability to build is awesome. And you were also talking about how they take player feedback. The Guild Summit was another really good example of that, and the release party in Austin, actually, the devs, pretty much anybody you can think of, whose name you've heard or seen on a video, were all just sitting up at a table, and we were walking through, and they were signing things. I got some awesome things from that, and we
rubbing it in.
Yeah, just a little bit more. I could rub it in. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, we could just talk to him, and obviously there was a developer Q&A, and obviously there were some things where like we can't talk about that yet, like James Olin's secret project. I so want to know what that is, but yeah, they're really
involves hair gel.
Also, they did a PAX East. I'm in Boston area, but I wasn't able to go. But I just saw the video on another game site talking about the stuff that they wanted to do. So yeah, and taking player feedback and stuff like that. Yeah. And
we have some videos on the Frag World site also, fragworld.org or SWTOR, no, torworld.org with a dash between Tor and World. But I'll talk about that later. Anyway, we'll get back to the discussion.
Am I the only one who thinks that the Guild Summit, for being a Guild Summit, had probably the least talk about guilds of all the different panels that they did, at least for the ones that they showed? For being a Guild Summit and inviting all the guild leaders, you could have called that any summit you wanted. Barely did it talk about guilds or guild functionality, and that's one thing that I was really disappointed about. We got a lot of great information out of it, but I really wish I would have heard more about some guild functionality, what they're going to do. I know they've said that they're going to do it. The fact that they're going to make guild capital ships is great. Tell me a little more about it. I'm curious. Like some more info, please.
I want raiding parties. Jolly Rogers. Swashbuckler.
I'm glad that they did improve the guild UI in 1.2. Like you can actually invite people to groups and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, agreed. I'm just saying, if for something that was calling itself a guild summit, it really came off more. And I love the information that came out of it. Don't get me wrong, but it seemed more of like, here's new stuff that's going to happen. Summit, a little bit of guild stuff, a little bit, not a lot.
Could have been a Hamburglar summit.
Whatever you want to call it.
I gotta stop.
No, that I would like to see. That would be
I would pay to see that. be running through there with cheeseburgers. Catch me!
Somebody would have to video that. They really, really would. Does anybody have any? We've got about 4 minutes left. Anybody have any wrap-up comments that you would like to add?
Well, I did get a chance to try out the new operation last night. We tried it on hard mode, and we didn't get that far, but it's really nice to have new content. And yeah, new mechanics to try out and something new to learn rather than doing the same old over and over again.
They also made Soa a lot easier to kill because they know no one's going to come back and mess with him on hard mode or nightmare mode anymore. They're like, oh, well, here's a reason to come back and fight him again. You can beat him.
Right.
Not that some people weren't already downing him. I'm just saying, I think for a large majority of guilds, hard mode Soa in particular, and Fabricator, or not, I'm sorry, not Fabricator, Bone Crusher in particular, were pains in the tuchus. And the nerf of them making it easier for people, to me, that seems like, here, you can come back and do it again. Like, because otherwise, why would you? Why keep throwing yourself against the wall when there's new content?
And it's Bone Thrasher. Bone Crusher was the little kid that was like, arr. Anyway.
You're right. Shame on Joshua.
You're the lore guy, man. What the
Who run by that town? Master Blaster.
You can pull more Star Wars lore out of my brain than most information than anything else. Wires get crossed occasionally, is what I'm trying to say, okay?
Does it all come out in the wash?
It does.
I'd really like to see more accessibility to the class quest for the companions. I mean, I've got 8 characters on the server as it is, and they range anywhere from 10 to 50 at this point. And depending on what class you take, like my Jedi Knight's a Guardian, so I ended up running with, I think, Kira for most of the game until I got Doc. And now I got a healer running with me wherever I go. It was Doc all the way, because now he can keep me alive with my survival talents. I'm practically unstoppable except for like champions and boss level NPCs. But I'm healer on my smuggler. I'm running with Bodar. I'd really like to run with some of the other characters, once in a while for fun. But the fact that you've got to bring it back, the legacy unlock for the different companions, the increased presence, and then the other buffs that you get by opening up doing the class companion class stories or quests or whatever. It kind of sucks having them all just hanging out in the ship doing nothing, or just running them out on crew skill missions and just running with one person the whole time, trying to get your affection up with that person. That way you can get to the top tier of whatever that is, and then you kind of feel like you have to start over, and then it's like a learning curve all over again. I'd like to see some more accessibility with the other companions, not just the one that's tailor-made for whatever spec you are.
It'd be fine if they made it easier to gear them. I mean, as it is right now, like you do your quest and you can pick one piece of companion gear, like, well, then I'm just going to pick for the one that I use all the time, and everyone else is just going to stay completely undergeared and never get used. And for the Jedi Knight, if you don't pick T7, that's going to come back and bite you in the butt at the end.
Spoilers.
Gear T7. Hint, hint.
Yeah, somebody said that in guild chat when I was like, I don't know, level 45 or whatever. I was like, well, I guess I'm picking his stuff. But for the most part, I wasn't even picking stuff for Doc. If it was, if there was a piece of orange gear, moddable gear, or whatever, there was something better that I could use personally, that was getting picked. And
totally.
It's not like every quest gives you companion gear. There's only certain ones. Whereas you might find a giant percentage of your quests are going to give you commendations for whatever planet you're on. So you're kind of tied into picking something. It's very linear, and it's almost, I'd say, almost on the verge of quite frustrating. More annoying, less frustrating, but still there's a mixture in there with a dab of suave.
Yeah, just to like change up my daily routine for daily, I switch around my companions every once in a while. Like I ran with Lord Scourge one day for all my daily, and that was interesting to see because I never really ran with him, so I never heard his what his catchphrases stuff were, and it was pretty interesting. And the same thing for like Sergeant Rusk, yeah. But yeah, you have an excellent point. I wish they did some kind of expand their companion stories, but maybe that's something we'll see in the future.
Hopefully.
But one of the things about gearing companions is troopers have an unfair advantage because we can just all of our companions wear the same gear we do.
Yep.
Well, except for the droids. I gotta admit they don't look so good in in human gear. You were talking about Lord Scourge, and I thought you said something about wearing skirts at first.
Well, the fortunate thing is some of the coolest companions story-wise, in my opinion, you don't get until late in your storyline, and they're kind of a spec that doesn't really make a lot of sense to use them, at least in my eyes. Like, for the Jedi Knight, I think Lord Scourge, just the fact that you have the Emperor's Enforcer on your side is cool, but does it really make a lot of sense to use him? I mean, Doc is pretty much the I win every fight as a Jedi Knight button, and Scourge is a tank. Like, most knights that I see rolling through the game are tanks. And if they're sentinels, then they're taking Doc with them. So why would you even use Lord Scourge? And he's one of the coolest guys. Why not use him?
I've never even used Rusk. I don't think for anything other than sending him out. Go fetch something, get me coffee or something. You know, turn the heat on in the ship. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Like
I pretty much only ever used Kaizen as my counselor. Like Nadia for a little bit until I realized that she looks real pretty, but she doesn't really do what I want her to. So I'm just taking the lizard everywhere. Everyone else just sits in my ship, and I make them craft stuff.
You see a lot of Kaizens running around. You see a lot of Bodars running around. Go ahead.
This is really late, but one of the things I really do like is that they shut C2 up. He doesn't talk unless you click on it now.
That was nice. Vocal modulators have been sent back for a recall. Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly.
That's like the smuggler thing that they just fixed with the upper hand proccing off of slow release med pack.
That's also I didn't hear him laughing as much.
Oh my goodness! I love my smuggler. I got a mullet, I got a Tom Selleck mustache, and now I got a big white coat. Perfect. I'm in heaven. Couldn't take it. I turned the volume down. Couldn't take it.
Maybe that's something we can see in the future too, is the ability to toggle voices on and off. That would not be a bad feature. Well, I'd like to thank all of our panelists for joining us today. We are going to go ahead and close down that portion of this episode. I invite you to join us next week. We will be available at all the same places. You can find more information and also discussion about the show, things you'd like to see, viewer questions, all of that at fragworld.org, or as I mentioned earlier, tor-world.com, which I may have messed up earlier. You can also email me at Sandy, which is with an IE at the end because my parents are crazy, at fragworld.org. We are going to keep next week's questions secret, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.